Welcome to Module 1, Mindset. I chose this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. for a couple reasons. First, you're taking the first step, and you are taking it in faith. I mean, yes, you've seen teachers who are doing this and they're doing this well and are further ahead in the journey than where you are right now, but it is faith, even if it's just faith in me, faith in yourself, or faith that this can even work. And I want you to continue with this faith and in being present as we go through this mindset module. A lot of programs skip this step, and I think it's really foundational and important because a lot of the teachers I work with, especially those of you who are coming out of the classroom or have spent some significant time in the classroom, really have some pretty significant mindset stumbling blocks that can come back and bite you in your business. In fact, a lot of times when I talk with teachers whose businesses are not thriving, it comes back to mindset. A lot of the work that we're doing is mindset. So we're going to start here and we're going to confront some mindset issues. Many teachers I work with start with some pretty low self-esteem. And it's not surprising when you work in a profession that is consistently telling you that you're not doing enough from multiple different angles, and some pretty awful self-care. And we'll talk about why that goes together in some of the later videos of this module. But some of the first things, the foundational things we need to do before you build your business is we need to address some mindset blocks that you have. We need to establish some real self-care, like consistent self-care, because you are the main asset in your business. And so if you are not taking care of yourself and feel like someone who deserves to be taken care of, that can have some pretty profound and negative effects to your business. So this is business. I know I said it's mindset, but this is really good business as well. And we need to recover your burnout as a result of your poor self-care or sporadic self-care. So that's why we're starting with mindset. And I am going to ask you just for the amount of time it takes you to get through this mindset module, to really take a break. You don't have to see the whole staircase. I mean, I kind of showed it to you when you look at the pacing guide, like your assignment list from the welcome module, you can see the whole staircase. But right now, I want you to focus on this step of addressing your mindset and making sure that you have a really good foundation upon which you can build your business. So here's where we're going to be going in this module. First, we're going to be doing replenish. And as I said before, many of you are starting right out of the classroom. If you're starting in the summer, you're probably pretty exhausted. I know I used to spend almost the entire month of June just recovering before becoming my fun summer self. So we're going to start with replenish. And then once you're feeling better and have the energy to really think and to dream, then we're going to move into the dream video, which is all about building a job around your life. So I want you to create a vision for your whole life, not just for your business, but what kind of life do you want to create for yourself and for your family? And how does your business fit into that whole life? And that goes down to sustainability. If you're creating a business that really doesn't support the life you want to live, then that's not going to survive. So we need to be creating, as a self-employed person and a self-employed teacher, we need to be creating a vision, not just for your business, but what the day-to-day and year of your life is really going to look like as a business owner and a self-employed teacher. Next, create. So once we kind of have this vision, we're going to start fleshing out the details of what we need to do in order to make that a reality. And so we're going to be putting pen to paper and really looking at what are the things we need to make this come to life. And then finally, we're going to be talking about money. It should be no surprise that most teachers, in fact, every teacher I've ever worked with, has some issues around money. Either the lack of money, beliefs about people who don't have money, beliefs about people who do have money or have a lot of money. And as teachers, we're frequently undervalued and underpaid. So it is no surprise that every teacher I've ever met, well, actually, with the exception of one, I have met one teacher in the last 3 years that I've been doing this, who had a really good idea of what the monetary value of what they're able to offer is. So we need to examine some biases that we have around money before we start setting out our pricing. And in order to be comfortable telling people the prices that we're going to be charging for our services. And that is what we're going to be covering in this module before we start actually constructing the assets for your business. So here is your homework. Before we move in to the replenish portion, let's take a moment to address your why and the elephant in the room. That way it's not kind of haunting in the back of your head. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out here and let's shine some light on it, and then we can move on. So first is why? Why do you want to do this? What do you want your life to be like? How do you want to feel in it? What do you want it to look like? What does your ideal schedule look like? What would it allow you to do if you were able to have your ideal schedule? What would it allow you to do if you were earning the kind of money that you want to be earning in order to live the kind of life that you want to be living? So let's really look at that why. And then who will benefit from you being your own boss? List all of the people that will benefit from it and how they will benefit from it. And what is the best possible outcome? What's the best possible thing that could happen from you having your business in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years? What's the absolute best thing that could happen? All right, now let's look at the other side. What are the potential pitfalls of owning your own business? And I'm not just talking about like not getting any clients, but what could be some of the pitfalls? And we'll talk about these. I'm trying not to give you too much here. With each pitfall that you list, how will you deal with each one? And what is the worst possible outcome? What's the worst possible thing that could happen? And when you have those, and you've taken the time to write them all down, then you can go on to the next video. And I will see you there. We will talk about these in our meeting. If they're too personal for you to want to share in the Slack public channel, you can share them with me via DM, or we could just talk about them when we have one-on-one or when we have our small group meetings. And I will see you in the next video.